wind constantly blows in South Texas, making a melody through wind chimes, gently bending tall grass and spinning windmills almost as fast as the wheels on big rigs hauling Eagle Ford shale crude. The clouds roll by like wave after wave in the ocean. But these days, in DeWitt County, there's a wind of discontent.
You're going to be breathing nothing but that old oil-based mud and smelling the whole time.
Cleveland Staley should know what he's talking about. Having worked in the oil industry for more than 50 years, Staley says putting an open-pit oil waste dump site near the town of Nordheim is simply bad planning.
It's an odor. It's an odor when you're drilling them. It's when you pile it all up like that, it's really going to be an odor.
Petro Waste Environmental, a San Antonio-based company, is planning on building a dump on this 204-acre site, similar to this one in LaSalle County, only right across Highway 72 from Nordheim. The plan is to dig several 25-foot deep pits, then fill them with the rock and soil waste left after digging an oil well. Folks who live around here are not happy with that plan.
There are 40 water wells within a mile radius of this site.
They've formed a group, hired attorneys, and meet once a month to talk about ways to block the dump site.
Because it's on the tires of the truck, they spill it.
They're worried it will contaminate their wells and pollute the air.
To me, it's not about money, it's about family value.
Kevin Stiver has strong ties to the area. His family has owned land right across the gravel road from the proposed site for almost 120 years.
To me, it's priceless. I never intended on selling it. It's something that will be handed down to my family.
But if this thing goes in, it goes from priceless
to worthless for the greed of a few.
The rock and soil and waste sites like this have been soaked in diesel fuel used in drilling. Residents say it has to stink. We wanted to see exactly how a dump would affect Nordheim, so we came up with a plan.
The problem is the pits are about half a mile south of town. The wind here almost always blows from the south. The folks who live in Nordheim are worried that southerly wind will carry the smell from the pits into Nordheim the same way it carries the smoke.
Yeah, it's gonna be nasty.
Elo Pfeiffer has lived here 82 years.
Yeah, I was born here.
He's run the Broadway grocery store for 40.
All right, we thank you, sir.
It's the last grocery in a town which used to have 4. So,
hi, Shirley.
He knows everybody, and he knows those who live here and are dug in aren't giving up.
That lady lives out that way, on the other side of where they're going to drill them pits.
You know, it's not a sewage treatment plant. It's not a stockyard.
George Womack owns Petro Waste Environmental. He says residents don't need to worry about pollution or contamination. What they're proposing is state-of-the-art. Pits like this are lined twice and constantly monitored for leaks.
You're constantly testing the fluid in between the two liners, so you'd pick that up right away, and then you'd have to shut down operations.
As far as the smell, Womack says the material is handled so many times before it gets to the pits, most of the smell would be gone by the time it would get here, but admits there will be some odor, and says folks don't need to worry about toxins.
What we're talking about here is rock, primarily in soils that have come into contact with hydrocarbons.
He also says his company should have done a better job of getting in front of the community. Then maybe he wouldn't have to deal with the protests.
A quarter mile to half a mile outside of a town, whether it's 50 people or 5,000 people, it shouldn't be done. I mean, they're not going to put this 3 blocks away from the Capitol in Austin.
Which is where the town's fate is now. The Railroad Commission is expected to make a ruling on Petro Waste's permit, perhaps within 90 days.